Hey guys, I've been suffering a major cold for the past entire week. Been out of work, been feeling like I'm gonna die, but basically I'm just about over my cold. Basically, actually, about 3 or 4 days ago, I lost my voice entirely. I couldn't talk at all. Laryngitis is a real bitch. Now getting down to basically what I have done yesterday and a little general discussion. I have bought a 3DS. I don't have it on me. I ordered it on Amazon. They actually are still in stock as of this recording. Mine should be coming on Wednesday. I'm not going to do an unboxing. You guys know my take on that shit. Plus, I have seen hundreds of fucking unboxings on YouTube, some of which were done by 7-year-olds, which is kind of retarded. What I basically want to discuss is history repeats itself. And you guys need to understand that something happened back in 2004 that is happening right now. If you go to Game Trailers or any review site and you look up any video game reviews for the 3DS, you're bound to see some people who write the following. For instance, there's one person who wrote this: "The 3DS seems nice, but I'd much rather wait for the NGP." You have some there saying that the NGP will own the 3DS. That, the graphics are last gen on the 3DS and the NGP is going to have PS3 graphics. I just said history repeats itself, right? Well, interesting fact, the same shit happened back in 2004 when the original DS was launched. And I do actually have the original DS. This was the Metroid Prime Hunters bundle that came with that demo, and I still have the demo. I still have the box. This thing was an ugly piece of shit. I later replaced it with a DS Lite. I never bought any of the DSIs. I figured that since they really weren't the next generation of DS, I wasn't going to waste my money on it. And it more or less paid off. What I want to talk about is the fact that this thing was so overhyped that people thought it was going to cream the fucking DS, and that never happened. Sony made so many mistakes with this thing, and as I said, history repeats itself. One of the major mistakes that Sony made was trying to bring the PlayStation 2 into portable form. This is a thing that every previous company who has released a handheld to verse Nintendo has made that same mistake. Basically, if you look at it in this way, Game Gear was supposed to be a portable master system. It failed horribly for other reasons, but mainly the battery life was shit. I actually had a Game Gear. I also had a Nomad. I basically had a lot of the failed handhelds, as I would say. But Sega always kept trying to bring a console experience on the go, whereas Nintendo was always about having short bursts of fun. Yes, you did have the occasional big full-length game, but that wasn't their main market. Their main market was the fact that you could turn on your device when you're on the bus, play it for 10 minutes, and shut it off. This is a thing that Sony failed miserably. You'll be sitting here for fucking 10 minutes in, loading up a game, which is kind of why they got rid of the whole disc. But even flash storage, their load times are kind of bitchy on this thing. If you notice, I would say, I'm going to say it right now, the 3DS will beat the NGP. Because the thing is, if you look at the history, there was only one failed system that Nintendo released, and that was the Virtual Boy. Now, some people are saying that, oh, the 3DS is a repeat of the Virtual Boy. No, it's not. The launch was so horrible with the original Virtual Boy, and the 3DS is selling like fucking hotcakes already. Plus, I think there are more launch titles than there were games on the Virtual Boy at this point. And the fact that 3D isn't pushed upon you, that you don't have to use it, is also a perk. Nintendo's smart. They're not going to force something upon somebody when there are people out there who cannot see 3D. But this is just the same thing. The thing is that those same people who went and said right now that, well, oh, the NGP is going to beat out the 3DS, that the 3DS is a kiddie system, or they said the NGP is for real gamers. It's exactly what you fucking said about this thing. And did this thing kick Nintendo's ass? No. Nintendo pulverized this thing. Nintendo outsold this thing. I mean, I don't even know the fucking ratio, but I'm sure it's embarrassing. Sony never had success with this thing. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some games I actually like on this. For instance, God of War on the PSP is awesome. I have several games for the PSP. I have mostly games for my DS, and I mean there's things in here. And correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. Somebody said this is fucking rare. I'm not sure. This is the DS Romo pack. I got that with Metroid Prime Pinball, which is an awesome game, by the way. I got plenty of games. I even got the, what do you call it? The Game & Watch collection, which some people were like, oh, if you open it, you're going to lose its value. I had no intents on selling it anyway. But, yeah, I mean, I have plenty of games for my DS. I, honest to God, haven't played this in a while. I just didn't have the time, and I got more focused on the iPhone and stuff. But you know what? I'm giving Nintendo the benefit of the doubt. They've never failed me in the past, and I'm sure they're not going to fail me now. The thing is that, again, this thing was criticized at first by a lot of so-called real gamers who thought that this thing wasn't going to last against this. It's just, Sony made far too many mistakes. And who knows? Maybe Sony will finally get it right. Figure out that, wait, the gamers don't want a PS2 on the go, which already I think they're making a mistake. If you've seen, they're trying to push the fact that the NGP can produce graphics equivalent to the PS3. Again, graphics isn't everything because the controls were horrible in this thing. Load times are horrible. The screen was shit. You know, the games just weren't really there for this thing. There really weren't that many great games. I'm sure there are more good games on this thing than this. If you look at the reviews, the average, I mean, everyone criticizes the Wii for having shovelware. If you consider all the games that were supposed to be good that had horrible scores, this thing had more bad games than this. Now, the thing is, you guys can easily say that, oh, you're just a fanboy. You're a Nintendo fanboy. You know what? The thing is that whenever I say something that somebody doesn't like, they automatically criticize me as being a fanboy. Explain to me, why do I have a PSP? Why do I have a whole shit ton of games for it? Why do I have a DS? Why do I have a PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, Nintendo GameCube, Game Boy Advance? I have owned every Game Boy that's ever come out. You know, I've owned almost every handheld, minus a few of those oddities that were overpriced and only stayed on the market for so long, namely the Virtual Boy. But this is just the thing. Before you guys criticize this and say that the 3DS has no chance, that the second the NGP comes out, that the 3DS is going to fail, you know, bite your tongue and don't count your chickens before they hatch. Wait and see. Because the thing is that right now, that thing, yes, it does look sexy. It does look like it has the best graphics of any handheld ever. Yes, it does look like Sony is trying to correct the mistakes from the past, but I have a very bad feeling that that thing's going to be overpriced. The games are going to cost more than the 3DS games. The games are going to, you know, suffer the same fate that companies try to rush out games or try to, you know, bring the console experience on the go. Again, that's not what gamers want when they buy a handheld. A handheld is never intended to replace a console. So I'm not going to do a review. I'll probably just say what I think about the 3DS when I get it. I'm really looking forward to how they implemented 3D. I've seen countless videos, but again, unless you see it in person, again, I've been sick, so I haven't been able to go to a mall to see it or anything. But yeah, you guys tell me what you guys think. Basically, criticize me. Tell me if you guys agree with what I had just said. Tell me if you guys don't agree. But the fact is, I've heard every fucking thing that is being said right now about the NGP, saying it's going to cream the 3DS. That's exactly what people said about the PSP. And the thing is that so far Nintendo has a history of destroying and owning the handheld market. So take care, guys. Look out for future content. If there's any recommendations of videos you guys want me to make, please post comments below. Take care.